Hey guys, I got a great show today. Andy Kindler, one of my favorite comics in the whole world. He's on the show today. We're going to talk about a myriad of subjects, including they re-released the State of the Industry address that he does at the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival every year from 1996. That's the first year he did it. You can get it on iTunes. We'll talk about that. It's hilarious. The great Andy Kindler's on today.
Hello there, you. It's me, Jay Moore. You know me from the More Stories podcast. I'm a comedian, I'm an actor, and I talk to people that fascinate me, like Brandon Boyd from Incubus, super funny Jim Jeffries, Jay Leno, Charlie Sheen, Lakers owner Jeannie Buss, and a whole lot more. Download a few episodes of More Stories now. More Stories podcast every Monday. Podcast One app, iTunes, podcast1.com.
Podcast1.com presents Tom Arnold, 100% Honest. Pretty much.
Oh, that is very touching.
A weekly show where Tom and his celeb friends talk, laugh, tell stories, and are pretty much honest. Unless, of course, they get Tom in trouble with the wife.
That's right.
Now, here's your host, Tom Arnold.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Arnold here. Tom Arnold, 100% honest, pretty much. And my great guest today, the amazing Andy Kindler, somebody I've admired a long time, somebody I know you love because he's hilarious, somebody I've seen actually take probably the hardest fall I've seen a non-elderly person take.
That's true.
Usually when you fall, you brace yourself or you have reflexes of some sort. He has two arms. He has two legs. But, I mean, a straight fall with no attempt at breaking it at all. Andy, do you remember this?
Yes, I was at the toy fair for covering the toy fair for David Letterman.
Right.
It was at the Javits Center.
Yes.
And it was a cement floor.
Yes, it was cement.
And it was a toy fair.
Yes.
But so then they had a hydraulic pogo stick. And I've never been good, particularly good at anything,
right.
But these things really take off.
Yes.
So I couldn't get it going. And then I got it compression going, and I flew backwards.
Yes.
And could not get my hands off of the top part of the hydraulic thing.
Right.
And that's why I landed squarely on my back. And then they turned the piece into a documentary about me being injured.
Yes, it was hilarious.
But,
it was hilarious.
oh, man.
But your hands would not come off of...
My hands would not come off of...
Break the...
No.
But...
I don't know what I thought maybe. Can't lose this stick.
Yeah.
Years later, a guy told me that he worked with that pogo stick company, and he said that my footage spurred sales.
Oh, spur sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think it would discourage it, but...
Yeah, when I wrecked my motorcycle on PCH, I said to the company that loaned me the motorcycle, hey, I got a great video of me wrecking my motorcycle. It's broken in half. They go, please do not put that out on social media.
Right.
Yeah.
No, this was the other way. This was like people enjoyed watching me get injured.
I thought you held on to it because you didn't want to ruin the piece. I thought that was more important than your own spine or anything.
Well, that's true, though, because when I did come to... I didn't get knocked out, but they right before we did the piece, they remembered to put the helmet on, right? Yeah. So my head hit against the floor.
Right.
And then the helmet went flying up because we didn't have it strapped. So in that first second, I didn't know if I was dead or whatever, but then the next instinct was, I have to go on with this piece.
Right. Now, David Letterman, let's talk about him real quick. Now, do you miss him?
I miss him, yeah.
Okay. And nobody's like him.
No.
Am I right?
For my generation, he's the hero.
Yeah. And he's our hero. And did you ever have any, were you lucky enough to have any interaction with him?
I was lucky because I never stayed through commercial.
Right.
Even when I did stand-up, I didn't stay through commercial. But he would just say the funniest things to me. Like when I hurt my back, he kept just saying, you have to sue us. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that's so funny.
And then 2 months later, I lost my appendix after falling off the pogo stick.
Wow.
So I said to him, the doctors say that it's not connected. He goes, yeah, right. and then he's like, I would ask him, I say, how you doing? He goes, I could die at any moment. So, but you know what? I always feel about him like he felt about Johnny. It's like I never felt...
Right,
I could never be like Bill Murray with him, or
of course,
because it's like I had that deference to him.
Right, I felt the same way. I got to I mean, when he had the heart thing and the other thing, I got to fill in for him.
Oh,
and
right.
I was horrible, of course, because you can't fill in for him.
Right.
But it was such an honor. And also in commercials, I was nervous to talk. The one time I remember is Michael Johnson had won 2 Olympic golds.
Right, the Canadian
and they asked me if he could come on before me, since he's just won 2 golds. And I said, yeah, of course. And he went on before me. And then I came on. And then after commercial, I'm going to do another segment. Letterman leans over and goes, what a fucking load. Because, athletes are, but that's
yeah.
But I didn't want to bug him.
But the thing about him is like that's what I love about him was that he was a real person,
Right. And he was a perfectionist. However hard, there was no hanging out or looking at or whatever. But imagine how hard he was on himself.
Yeah, I think he is very hard on himself.
Yeah.
I wish he wasn't as hard on himself, but he's kind of like locked into how he, feels.
Right. And I loved his admiration for Johnny Carson. Did you ever do Johnny Carson?
No, because I started in '84 in a comedy duo, but then I went on my own, and then in '86.
Who was your duo with?
Is with a guy named Bill.
Yeah.
And as a friend of mine asked me, Tom Sharpling said, which one were you? It was Andy and Bill. Which one were you? So it was Andy and Bill. And that was easy. That was good because I think stand-up is the hardest thing, the most frightening thing when you first start.
Right.
It's like embarrassingly.
So you had a partner.
Yeah. And then I got it. I could see that it wasn't. It's hard to keep that going.
Right.
And I would ad lib and I would bail on the bits.
Right.
That was my specialty.
Yeah.
If the bit's not working.
Well, I could see being a partner with you would be annoying.
No yes and.
Right. I mean, you're hilarious, but as
I'm not a team player.
Right.
And I'm self-absorbed. So then from 87 to 92, I was on the road. But I grew up in Queens, New York. I went to school upstate, and I drove out in a Ford Country Squire station wagon in 1978.
You drove out here to L.A.?
Yeah, with a girlfriend who no longer like me that much.
After the drive?
No, even before.
But you drove... Okay, I get that.
Because I was terrible in my 20s in terms of self-esteem and everything else.
Are you married now?
I am married now, and I have self-esteem finally.
You do?
Not too much.
I'm going to try for that. Yeah. Yeah, you don't like people that have too much. There are people that have a lot.
Oh, that's what you have to worry. Yeah,
it's shocking.
Like Trump, for example.
Exactly. They really believe in themselves.
But, it's hard to think of someone like Trump that he actually doesn't actually feels terrible about it.
Well, I know. I think he does.
It's the flip side, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing about it. I've known him a long time, too. And people know how I feel about him. But when he talks about his brother, there's a humanity there that you don't see.
Right, yeah.
His brother was an alcoholic, and I relate to that. But otherwise, he's got this fake... There's no there.
Yeah.
So, he was always very charismatic, always nice to me, but not as president, as the dude.
So it does not make you feel any better that you met him?
No, it makes me scared. It makes me very nervous.
Yeah, because the thing is, you remember Curtis LeMay was that crazy general when JFK was president and during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes.
But JFK had his own mind. He could make his own decision. After Curtis LeMay, I don't trust that with Trump. He gets that Michael Flynn. I know he's gone, but he gets the wrong advice at the right time, and it's off to the races.
Well, I think Mad Dog Mattis would shoot him in the head if he tried to push the buttons or whatever. I think that's the kind of general
tried to push the buttons.
Yeah, start a war.
Can I just push the buttons just to test them?
I think he would start a war to block the Russian investigation. But it would be with North Korea or somebody. I mean, it would start World War. I will say this: I've been to Okinawa, the bases, there,
right,
and I've been to the Middle East. And they have an underground bunker there of the biggest arsenal of weapons we have anywhere. And the generals told me, they say when World War III starts, it won't be the Middle East. It'll be right here.
Oh.
And so that's probably where he'll start World War III. It'll be something with North Korea where they do something wrong. So it looks like we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then somehow we'll get China involved, which is always great. And then, and just to cover up his bullshit in Russia,
Well, I'm fascinated. I'm scared and fascinated by what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think this next month he's going to go. I think we're going to learn more and more about him.
Yeah.
It's we'll find out his birth name was Boris Badenov.
Right. Well, what I think, and this is the last I'm going to say about John McCain.
Yeah.
I think when he insulted him as not being a war hero, everybody's like, John McCain, he shook it off. He was a wuss. He caved in. I don't think John McCain's like that. John McCain lived for 5.5 years in a 3-foot by 3-foot cage and was beaten every day and would not leave there until his friends left with him. He's not a guy you fuck with.
Right.
Now, John McCain's leading the Senate investigation into the Russian stuff about Trump. A year ago, John McCain sent one of his buddies to Europe to get that dossier.
Oh, yeah.
Dossier, a year ago. So he's had it for a year.
Oh.
So he's going to have everything. And it's going to take a Republican to expose all the information because they're all, in it. Because all they care about is, cutting taxes for rich people and, screwing over poor people. And then they got Trump, and they're like, we'll go along with him even though we hate him.
Well, they're happy to make the money if the poor people don't get screwed or get screwed.
Right.
But then they have no problem with the poor people getting
That's true. Well, they think, that's true. That's true.
Jason Chaffetz yesterday said, come on, instead of buying that new iPhone.
He's the worst.
Can you believe that you could be so
worst.
separated from life that you would think that people really can afford health insurance, but they're buying iPhones?
Right. Well, for one moment, he was real when he said, I can't look my daughter in the eye. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. After
Yeah.
That lasted a day.
Yeah, he's a phony, too. I mean, they're all, but I think I got to believe in one person is going to take country over party, and I think John McCain's like.
I like Franken. Franken's my guy.
I love Franken. But he's our party, though.
I know, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because it's going to be Pence. That's the thing, it'll be Pence.
But see, once there's an impeachment, they'll slow everybody down a little bit.
Right. So
everybody will be like, hey, wait a minute.
And it'll be midterms by then.
Yeah. And Pence doesn't believe in dinosaurs, but he also was really cool about the Hamilton thing when he went to Hamilton and they kind of lectured him.
That's true, yeah.
So he's not going to start
He does a good Reagan impression.
Yes,
he does a Reagan impression.
Yeah, and he's not going to, he doesn't think cigarettes kill you, but then he won't start World War III. So you got to look at, he's just going to be, calm and cool.
So people believe that the world is 5,000 years old, don't believe in dinosaurs?
Right.
Well, what do they think? They think
it's fake. Either they think that God put them there to make it seem like.
Oh, okay.
He put the bones.
I see.
Just the bones.
But they think dinosaurs never roamed the earth?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to have to look into this now.
Yeah. Check into it. Check into his biography.
Chariot of the Gods.
Yeah. Yes, very interesting. He does look like the guy that would, that would believe that.
Well, I love the whole right-wing thing where they go, do you believe in global warming? Look, my scientist, I'm not a scientist. I don't have an advanced degree.
Yeah.
I couldn't have an opinion, ostensibly.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing about politics. With evangelicals, they're like super religious, right?
Yes.
They support Trump.
Right.
Because the guy that's never opened a Bible, even it was so obviously went to that Bible school.
You remember he said that he called the thing wrong?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, something 2.
Yeah.
My favorite chapter is whatever 2. I don't even know.
Right.
But he's been married 3 times. He's cheated on everybody. He's done all these horrible things. But they can overlook that. But
some of the evangelists don't, but very few.
Very few.
When push comes to shove.
Right.
I think the Christian right getting hooked up with the Republicans was a lethal combination.
Yeah.
It's been worse. In my lifetime, I've never seen it like this. Just one thing that Trump would have said would have disqualified anybody in the old days.
Oh, sure.
It's like crazy. I never predicted this would happen, and I'm never going to make a prediction again after this.
Right. Well, I think the one thing that people were angry.
Right.
And I think that right-wing radio, they started radio, fed into that. And this is what happens. And, a lot of really good people voted for Trump. Decent people that just, you scare people enough.
Yeah, they're going to.
There's a lot of politicians that that's how they make their mark. They scare people. And they're, oh boy, they're coming. Watch out. You're next. And that's very unfortunate. And then those are the people that end up getting screwed over the most, the people, the true believers.
Right.
Like that guy's going to be our savior. And that guy would not have you in his building. So, we'll see what happens.
He's so sour.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Reagan was pleasant.
Yeah, he was great.
These days, the evil people are really evil.
Right, that's true. That's true. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. I say stay tuned.
Yeah. And it's hard to, it could be depressing if you spend too much time focusing on it.
I have a problem. I have OCD, so
Right.
I can get distracted very easily.
Right. So I have to do that too.
It's not healthy.
Do you have kids?
I don't have kids.
I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And you can just see how old I am. So I have to be positive. I can't be watching MSNBC all day or.
Does it take you totally? It changes your world.
It does. I can let it, start bumming me out. So I have to switch over to Disney or Nickelodeon. I'll tell you what bummed me out today. My son, who's almost 4, every day when I take him to school. Now this is something you're lucky you didn't have to go through. I walk into his school class, and then he makes me sit for 5 minutes on the little chair, the little kid chair. And he turns his back to me and looks over his shoulder every so often just to make sure I'm there. And I complain about it. I'm the only parent that has to do it. And I told Heather, who's back there behind the glass there, that Channing Tatum had to do it one day, and he said like that. This is the 7th ring of hell, isn't it? But anyway, I also said the other kids think I'm a clown that was hired by the school because I always have to hang out longer or something. They don't think I'm a parent or grandparent, probably. Anyway, so I always have to wait longer, and it's kind of a pain. And the other parents, like the fathers, just drop the kids off; they're gone.
Right.
So today, though. They have you could drop a kid off outside at the parking lot.
Yes.
So you don't have to walk him in because the teacher will walk him in. And he said, I'd like that to happen. So he didn't want me to walk him in. And that, I almost had to pull over because I was so emotional. I'm getting emotional right now thinking about it. Like, what is going on? Like, I complained every day when I had to walk him in there. Right.
Because he was nervous about going to school? Was that what it was about?
I think he just knows he owns me.
Oh, okay.
And he just want to show the kids, I got this guy. He's going to do what I say. He's going to sit on that chair for a little bit. But then today he was like, I'm going to have the teacher do it, and which is great. But it was like I felt like I needed to pull over somewhere,
right.
Coldwater Canyon.
I remember I almost didn't make it to nursery school.
Yeah.
It was the last day they were going to try it with me because I started like crying out of control every day. And then Stanley said to me, "Big boys, don't cry, Andy." And I said, "Okay, Stanley."
But see, you cried because you're close to your family, right?
Yes, but it wasn't. It was. I was afraid of being abandoned, kind of like. I am close to my family, but I wasn't necessarily for healthy reasons. I was like,
right. Right.
I was one of those kids who got very panicky.
Right. I was raised without a mother. I love going to school or camp or whatever. Like I couldn't get enough of going somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Especially if there were women around. Like other kids' moms. I was fascinated. I wanted to see what they look like naked because I had no idea. When you don't have a mother, you don't know what a woman looks like naked.
So your mom
didn't raise us. No. My dad had a single father until I was 10.
Wow.
So, I did look when my grandma kissed me goodnight a few times down the, nightgown. But who doesn't do that? But I still didn't have the full picture. I didn't have the full picture, And that's I was probably a little weird, but I was like 13, and you're just a little more curious about things.
13 was the worst age.
13 is a terrible age.
It's just when your hormones. I had sexual fantasies when I started 13. It was like I'm a pirate, and then eating a donut.
Anything. like anything. And girls are smarter and more mature. Than boys at 13 and 10 and all those. They're just a little, and I can see it even in my 1-year-old daughter versus my 3-year-old son. She's not into the wacky. We play our little wacky fall down games, and she'll have it. She'll let us do it twice. Then she's done with it.
Yeah.
And whereas he'll do it unlimited. He'll have me walk into a door 100 times, and it just is hilarious to him every time.
He loves the bit.
Yeah. Again, that's what his favorite thing to say is again.
One more. Well, now I'm scared. Now I've been watching this show, Big Little Lies.
Right.
And now I watched that show. I'm scared to death now.
Right.
Of schools and. To watch the show, they got me. They've got me in.
Right.
Something horrible is going to happen.
Tell me your exact fear of schools.
Oh, I don't have fear of schools, but I all of a sudden like
something horrible's going to happen to you.
No. Something's going to happen to someone on that show, and I'm emotionally invested.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm emotionally invested in that show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite show?
It's not my favorite show, but I never really was a big. I don't have a Reese Witherspoon collection at home. Like wasn't a big fan. I liked Election, and I don't remember any other movies. Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
She's so amazingly great in this show.
Yeah.
And so weird.
Yeah.
And everybody's great in the show.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
I wish I had something funny to say about it.
No.
Still, sometimes people want the real deal from me.
They really do. They really do. Hey, speaking of the real deal, can I mention this? Because it happened February 17th, 2017. That's this year, right?
I believe so.
When Comedy Dynamics Records
you make it sound so exciting
that they were releasing Andy Kindler's State of the Industry Address. Just for laughs, 1996. What's that?
This is very exciting. For 20 years, I've been giving this speech in Montreal. That I didn't know it would go 20 years, but the speech is about...
Which everybody in our business knows about.
Yeah, and the basic thing is I slam everything, and and then I wonder why the phone doesn't ring when I get back to L.A. But so this company, they said, well, maybe we should... I was always hesitant about releasing them because I have enough feuds...
Right.
I don't need to have...
I like your ones with Patton Oswalt that are sort of...
Oh, yeah. I like tongue-in-cheek views.
But if people actually believe them...
Well, I think a couple of times with Patton, I've had an actual Twitter thing.
Well, good. Yeah. That's where I read them on Twitter.
Because I'm always about... Because I'm into this whole, I'm anti this... I never would have thought I'd be defending organized religion, but it's like with people picking on Muslims and the whole mean new atheist thing, it gets me so enraged.
Right.
So that I'm probably...
well, atheists are annoying when they try to push that on you.
And they weren't like that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I have a joke where I say an atheist was just someone who looked depressed at a picnic.
Right.
And now they're like in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill Maher could be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pushes that shit a little hard.
And then you go on these Twitter accounts and they say anti-theist.
Right.
I don't even know what theism is.
I don't even know what that is. And be happy somebody believes in something.
Yeah, it's like, how could that stick in your craw if someone's a Buddhist?
I'm jealous that I don't have it. I can't wrap my head around what they believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, you do that.
Yeah. So I get into those kind of. But the thing with the Twitter thing is such a trap, and I'm getting better at avoiding traps. Well, I'm always afraid.
What's the worst thing that's happened to you on Twitter?
I think I did the speech at Montreal.
Right.
And I came, and it was when that thing happened with Anthony Cumia, Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had made these, what I thought were racist rants.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, like, that's what I do in the speech. Sometimes it's not that serious, though. This was like, I was really saying, this guy's saying racist things, and let's all at least admit that they're racist.
Right.
So when I come home from that, then I started to get all these, like, concentration camp photos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you get Twitter.
I get them, the double ovens. Pictures. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and then, but even that, then it dies down.
Yeah,
it dies down. But like what they did to Leslie Jones was terrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
And so, and you know what it is when they want to find you to be vulnerable. If you show any vulnerability, they pounce.
Right.
Like oh, they got you.
Right.
But
so you can't. And here's the thing: if you let somebody on social media hurt your feelings,
right,
then you shouldn't be on social media. Because they might not be a real person. They could be a bot. Your wife can hurt your feelings because you love her. And my wife does hurt my feelings because I love her. But, social media, I have, tracked people because they always leave a trace and to track people down that says they're Nazis, and it's always a sad story who they really are.
Right. So
not
true about Hitler, though. And that's
that
was a sad story.
If he'd have been on, he'd have been on Twitter too, I'm sure. But the people I have tracked on Twitter,
how do you track it? You just keep following
my brother knows how. I'd rather, there's ways to.
Oh, wow.
Let's say if you were a hacker,
right,
it would be real easy.
Okay,
because you always leave a trace. When you tweet,
right,
and you can follow that back, and then you can find out where they work, where they live. You could have a picture of their house from that, that thing where you can see
Google Earth.
Yeah, and you could send them. This is your house. This is where you work. I mean, they freaked out about work because they usually work at Home Depot or something. They're like, please, I'm so sorry. I'm actually a fan. Well,
so you're going after trolls. You're looking.
I'm going after the person who sent a picture of me and my kid in double ovens and says I'm a Nazi and I'm gonna kill you, and then I try to go after trolls.
All right, now what do you do once you catch them? Because I'm afraid of
Well, I do. I say, here's where you work. Here's where you, and then they freak out, and then they close their account and they apologize, and and I should know better because many years ago, not many years ago, but somebody had a site called Tom Arnold is the Devil. This is true. You could Google this, and so I had my publicist. I was indignant. I said, I want that down. That's ridiculous. So we had a lawyer. They shut it down. The woman, the kid that had it, his mother called my publicist crying, and she said, "My son, he had no friends, and then he had that site, Tom Arnold is the Devil, and he had 30 friends, and now he's in the basement crying this stereotypical story because he has no friends again." And I felt so bad that I let him put it back up, and I sent pictures with my eyeballs with 666 in them.
Well, that's a wonderful story.
I realized you don't. You like to say we're equal people. I'm not a celebrity. We have the same rights as. But you know what?
Yeah, I always know whenever I feel bad. Whenever you see the sadness of someone, it's hard to stay angry.
Yeah.
If they're really sad, because when it's happening to you, all you see is the pictures that they're sending, and you can't separate it. And then I get scared easily too, because I've always been a short guy, so I was always scared to be like getting in fights.
Right.
So that's how I gauge things on Twitter. I will engage and fool around with people, or insult them or something, but I won't. But if I see it escalate, I never get into the language of escalation.
Right. I got to stop doing that. Yeah.
Because I'm from New York, and in New York, we'd say things that we didn't mean for real.
Right. Right. No, I mean,
I'm not going to kick someone's ass.
Well, here's the thing. I worked at a meatpacking plant for 3 years. I was a Jew who worked at a pork processing plant for 3 years.
Wow.
We slaughtered 6,000 hogs a day. If you work at a place like that, your life, the life, in the town like that, it's a little rougher than where we live right now. So you deal with people in a little different way. And even when you're older, you forget that you're old sometimes. You think you're still that same guy in your 20s that used to meet people behind the Union Hall and settle it like men, and then that's how I've, I challenge people on Twitter and had my wife come into my office and say, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Well, but now I was told, because that's been my big fear about is getting in a fight, but my friends who've been in fights say it's all anticipatory fear that if it happened, it wouldn't be as bad as me fantasizing about how terrible it is.
You're right. Well, here's the thing about fights. It probably is going to be short. And so try to get the first punch in. And if fight and this is true with any mammal, including great white shark, human being, they hate being punched in the nose. A bear.
That's the thing I'm afraid of.
I am telling you. So that's why you got to hit him in the nose as fast as you can.
Oh, and they get that smell.
There's something that does it get stars. I've been hit in the nose a lot. I've had my nose broken. But you give them stars, you have a second. Otherwise, and then hit them in the throat really quick. And then they can't breathe. Anyway, and then leave.
Then leave.
Yeah.
Getting away is good.
Yeah. Because even when you're young, bullies, a lot of times have not been in a fight. They just threaten people who are smaller.
Right, yeah.
But if you turn around
like
and punch them.
Trump might be.
Right.
Yeah.
You punch one in the nose, then they're like, oh my gosh. Every kid deserves to know what it feels like to be punched in the nose.
Right.
Because then they will less likely be a bully.
Yeah.
Because, that's you don't want that. But if you live your whole life, you've never been punched in the nose, you start pushing people around, and you'd think you're invincible or Donald Trump or something.
That's where it's like you get the feeling this guy really doesn't know what he's saying sometimes, Trump. It's like he's so used to just exerting his power.
Right.
That no one's, I don't know. Has he ever lost anything? Or?
Well, yeah, but he had to write off $1 billion. He hasn't paid federal taxes in 24 years. It's not like it's Warren Buffett.
Yes.
He's the opposite. He's not a great businessman.
That's the thing. It's amazing. that when they say people are great, he's not good at what he does.
Right.
He's not an effective speaker.
Right.
And that's what's amazing that he won anything.
Right. It is amazing. He was.
Well, it could have been stolen completely.
Right.
Not the machine so much, but the.
Right.
Like Comey. Why Comey? Come on, Comey. You had to speak up at that time?
Well, you know what the thing was? Is what's his name? The jerk-off guy, Wiener. He was catfished by a Russian a guy that said he was a 15-year-old girl in North Carolina, but it was really a Russian guy. And they turned that into the FBI, so they had to investigate.
Oh, so he was sexting or whatever, right?
Yes.
Is that what catfishing is? Like
catfishing is when you pretend you're a girl.
Right.
You pretend you're somebody, and you're not. You're somebody else. And it was a man in Russia, and he's pretending he's a 15-year-old North Carolina beauty, and he's catfishing, and that's against the law. And so they turned that information in that, this guy's is having relations on the internet with a 15-year-old girl, and it was all a lie, but that was part of the scam to get Comey to open up the whole thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, now, see, that's an example. The Russians knew to go after Wiener, right?
Right. That's a weak link. And then his wife works with Hillary, and what's the deal? And,
unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, they're smart. They're smart that way.
They are smart, although you would think people wouldn't buy it, but they do.
Right. And yet the country is shit. The people are wonderful.
Right.
I've worked there, and they're wonderful. But it's the economy.
Oh, you're talking about Russia?
Yeah, the economy. Why does Trump emulate them? They got one good street.
You just said a comedy. I love that. That should be a thing. You should patent that.
I could hardly talk today.
I'm making a lot of money from comedy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like when Obama would give it to, he was always needling Putin.
Right.
But one of the things he said that was true was they don't produce anything.
Right.
It's just oil, and because they spend all their time just trying to monkey around.
Right.
Well,
it's about the image, and it's about looking powerful, and the people again they're so nice. The average.
Oh, well, I'm
people.
from my last name is Kindler, but my people are from various parts of that area, from Germany through Austria, Poland. But unfortunately, we're Jewish. We're Jewish, though.
Right.
And
right.
I feel like it's a bad area, Eastern Europe, for Jews still.
Right.
Still. Well, they have these polls. They take a poll. Do you like the Jews? No. Still. 60%.
Right.
Dislike the Jews.
But fortunately, they dislike the Muslims more.
Right, well,
Yeah.
Well, that was my thing.
That's 95%.
Well, I had this joke where there's all anti-Islamic sentiment going around. I just want to say, as a Jewish person, thanks for the breather. Get off of but it eventually gets back to the Jews. You see that?
Yeah, it's true.
It comes back to the Jews.
It does. It does. And don't you feel sorry for the people from India, the Hindus?
Oh yeah.
They aren't even. The rednecks that are shooting people are shooting them because they're confused.
No, what's happening with them?
Well, they think they're Muslims.
The Sikhs and
the Hindus. They get confused. They're not even. They don't. It's like when we invaded Iraq. We didn't know they were different religions.
Right. Had no idea what the Shiite and the Sunni was.
Or a Kurd or whatever. Yeah. We didn't know they were already fighting each other.
But that's unbelievable that at that level, there was no end game to that thing.
Right.
It was the wrong thing to do, and we upset a balance that had, they were fighting with Iran.
Yeah, for 30 years.
Yeah. So what would we think? I always make it analogous to when someone's looking for their wallet and they're looking under a street lamp. They go, is this where you lost it? Oh, no, but the light's better here.
Yeah.
It's like Rumsfeld wanted to go into Iraq.
Oh, my God, did he? Now, here's the thing. I blame him, Rumsfeld and Cheney. And Cheney, 100%. I don't blame George W. Bush, 0. Because you know why? I like the Bush family. And you know why? I went on Johnny Carson once, many years ago, and I did when George H.W. Bush was president. I think you'll relate to this. I did some jokes that were very mean. They're beyond jokes about the president.
Right. You were angry.
Yeah. And the next day I saw Maria Shriver. I've told the story before. And she said, I saw you on Carson. And I said, oh, yeah. Talked about the president. I go, oh, yeah. And I knew he was friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger, her husband. She goes, yeah, that was pretty rough. I go, well, he doesn't watch Carson. She goes, I bet he does. I go, well, he doesn't care. He wouldn't care about what I'd say. I bet he does. And I was like, oh, my God, do you have his address or something? And she's like, yeah. And I scratched him off an apology. I was like, you're a public figure. You're the president. Of course, you can make jokes about you, but I did go too far last night, and I just want to apologize. The next day, I still have this framed, a Secret Service agent brought a handwritten note to my house from him.
Oh, my God.
It said, Tom, of course, you can do whatever you want. Jerry Weintraub, the only other Jew he knew in Hollywood, says you're a great guy. Would you meet Barbara and I for dinner in Las Vegas this weekend?
Oh, my.
So
this is the greatest.
From that moment on, I loved him and his whole family. So there's no way I'm blaming George W. Bush for that war. I'm blaming Cheney and Rumsfeld. They're evil. George W. Bush was a great father.
Right.
So he did everything for the. Even when they made fun of him, when they whispered in his ear that one of the towers had been hit, and he was reading those kids that turtle story or whatever, and he didn't stop reading. Of course, you don't stop. You don't freak out kids.
Yeah, I never bought that Mar thing where he's like, where Mar's like he was scared.
No.
Yeah,
he just didn't want to freak out the kids.
What is he going to do? Is he going to get up and start looking out the window with binoculars?
Right.
What do they want?
He's not
to do?
Superman.
Well, I get sad sometimes because I was really angry at his administration, but he, when you see him and he hugs Michelle Obama, and you feel like
God,
you see a nice guy there, but he got bad advice.
Yes, he took some bad advice, but you got to say the Bush family, the only one that didn't bend for Trump.
Right. And Bush and Clinton. How about Bush Sr. and Clinton?
Yeah.
You see these guys and you're like...
that makes you feel good. But Bush and Michelle Obama hold hands and dance together.
So great.
That's America needs more of that.
Oh, that made me so happy.
Yeah.
I cry easily.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hillary and Bill Clinton went to Trump's inauguration. They had this thing at the House of Representatives, this famous lunch. And he looked out there, and they went there to support him. And it's not a huge thing.
Yeah.
And he was so stunned, Trump, that someone could be so gracious after losing to come to this thing. I was stunned that he said, I can't even say words. They're just great. He got up to realize they were there. It just was beyond him how someone could be that gracious. But that's kind of.
But could you talk? I mean, is there a chance that you could talk to Trump and maybe calm him down?
Oh, it's been too. Yeah, no, he wouldn't listen to me. But I love is that everybody that's tried to be, friends with him it's gone badly. It's gone very badly.
Yeah, because I would think that you'd always be waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
I love this guy.
Right.
I love Tom Arnold.
Right.
Come over here, Tom. And then all of a sudden.
Right. Okay, Andy, I'm going to take a quick break. Stay tuned, everybody. More Andy Kindler coming up.
I'm Rob Cisternino, the aptly named Rob Has a Podcast, where we're creating fun, smart conversation around reality TV games like Survivor. And this March, Survivor Game Changers is finally here. Join me weekdays for episode recaps, player interviews, and of course, your feedback. So if you're ready for a game change in your own Survivor experience, download Rob Has a Podcast at podcastone.com on the Podcast One app or subscribe on iTunes.
Now, back to Tom Arnold, 100% honest. Pretty much.
Well, it's funny. I saw Lovitz the other night. We were talking about, because he did The Apprentice with Arnold.
Oh,
Trump would call my house every year. I mean, and he's so charming. And he used to come on my sports show, and he'd ask me to do The Apprentice. And I'd always say no. But the last time he called, I hung up the phone. My wife said, "Why'd you say that?" And I said, "Say what?" She goes, "Say you do it." And I go, "I didn't say I'd do it." She goes, "No, the last thing you said is, I'll see you in New York." I go, "It was?" I go, "Oh my God, have my agent call immediately. I'm not doing it." Because the idea of doing that show is ridiculous.
It's panic stricken.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even do it with Arnold, who is a buddy.
Right.
So I was talking to Lovitz. Lovitz was like, well, Trump, all you got to do is suck up to him. That's what everybody should be doing. He loves that. That's how you get along with him. And I go, why do you have to suck up? Why should everybody have to suck up to the president? Why can't he be just a grown-up?
Well, you should show Lovitz some documentary footage of the days when people thought, oh, Hitler, I'm golden with Hitler.
Right.
He won't turn on me.
Yeah.
And then
Neville
boom,
Chamberlain, yeah.
Boom. You happen to be in the room where the guy left the briefcase next to him and blew up the bomb shelter. They think all of a sudden you're involved.
Right. That's an extreme, but that's good. It's good. I wish you'd have been there.
I am obsessed with Hitler. I watch every Hitler thing. When you watch Hitler stuff, it does make you more nervous about Trump because Hitler also did say things like, I do a joke, Trump's like Hitler, but at least Hitler was a veteran. But like Hitler was like, he would also say no idea. He had no specific ideas.
Right.
And that's what Trump does.
Yeah.
And I thought there's no way anyone can win by just saying we're going to build the thing and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And, well, no one's going to buy that. Remember John Kerry? He said I voted for it before I voted for it. That was how he was remembered.
Yes.
This guy goes, yeah, he's not a hero. He got caught. Who would think of even saying that?
Yeah.
It's like the movie The Producers.
Yeah.
How can I lose quickly?
Yeah. Exactly.
If you like war people who were caught.
Right.
And every one of those, when you think back on them, I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
I can't. But that's what I was hoping you would be able to.
Do you watch a lot of documentaries about the?
I do.
My uncle made a great one called "The Secret Life of Adolf Hitler." He wrote the book and then made the documentary. Bill Cooper was his name, and he worked at WPIX in New York. He ran that, and then
Channel 11.
Yes,
or was it Channel 5? Channel 11.
That 11, and then he did documentaries, but every 2 months or so, I'll go watch one in my gym by myself, just to get in that funky. Terrible
I can't
mood.
stop. My wife finally did say to me, what is it that it's like an ongoing joke that I watch them on the weekend, turn the phone off. And she's like, why are you watching so much?
Right.
But now there's new series I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Is the one where they really is an argument that he did not die in the bunker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they really don't have proof that he died in the bunker. And they've done this whole show where they try to trace him to Argentina.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying I love the idea that Hitler survived.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
No, but it's interesting. Then you could kill him. He'd only be like 140 years old.
Right. And I also love to yell at him when I watch the same documentary. It's like I can't believe you're going into Russia.
Right.
Why are you?
Right.
You're doing so well.
Right.
Because he could have probably taken over England, but I heard that he liked England a lot, and he eventually thought he would be with England. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to get inside his head.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Japanese for a second. What were they thinking by bombing Pearl Harbor?
Right.
Now I get. It's a one time. I get, okay, we can do this one thing, but then how are we going to back that up?
Well, they really had that thing with the emperor, and they really.
But how did they bond with the Nazis? How did that relationship?
You mean the axis of evil?
Yeah.
I love when George W. Bush was like starting out with that. They sound like heavy metal bands.
Yeah.
The weapons of mass destruction. I think, there's a lot of theories about World War II. Well, one of them is that Japan did. I'm not justifying anything they did, but they did feel like cornered in a way. They didn't have their own natural resources and stuff like that. But I don't get that. I don't get that at all. And Italy, and how about Italy?
Yeah,
it's not a good time period.
No, that's terrible.
And the Vichy water.
Yes, yeah, but Italy was pretty easy to. Italy, back and forth. They were in, and then they were like, okay, all right.
Well, Mussolini compared to Hitler looks like a wild sidekick,
right?
Like the kooky neighbor,
right? That's what he was. And then they could blame him. Okay, we get it. The Pope is still cool. That one area of Italy, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that I was with the Allies in that war.
Yeah.
But World War I, I studied like a little history, and World War I's weird because still don't know to this day. There was no reason to have World War I. It was really kind of everybody's fault,
right?
The Duke Ferdinand got killed,
right? Assassinated.
And so it's like, and then because Germany was they torture countries after wars, that kind of created a nice little atmosphere. I watched the thing about Hitler where if Germany did not have that big crash in 1929 with the stock market and with us, he might not have come to power because the economy would have turned around.
Wow.
And that means no Hogan's Heroes.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh!
I watched that. I can't believe these shows that I watched. McHale's Navy.
Yeah.
I watched.
I did the movie McHale's Navy.
Oh wow!
And I had Ernest Borgnine. I played my dad in it.
What's the one with the Hayakawas?
F
Troop.
F Troop. Oh my God! With Larry Stork.
Yeah, I was doing a joke like. Before F Troop, nobody was willing to look at the lighter side of the Native American genocide.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
How the heck are you? How the heck are you?
Yeah, and that's a joke on the Fakarwi tribe, where the guy comes up, he goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "We're the Fakarwi tribe." He goes, "How did you get that name?" He goes, "Well, every night our chief gets up on the highest mountain and looks north and then looks south and says, 'Where the fuck are we?'"
Oh,
yeah.
exactly.
So that's the old vaudeville joke that they turned into. There's a lot of shows they couldn't do now,
right?
That were from the 80s even.
Yeah.
Even if you watched like Carson's monologues and stuff from the 80s, you'd be.
You know what I noticed? Because I watch now on whatever, I think Antenna TV or TV.
Oh, yeah.
I watch the Carsons all the time. And you see comics doing jokes, gay jokes.
Right.
And it's not like I get outraged.
Right.
But it just doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Where it'd be so funny to just identify that someone was gay.
Yes.
You know? That's why it's like a lot of times, like when Seinfeld was all upset about colleges, it's like, you just have to let it go that certain things are not going to be funny anymore, you know, once they are normalized.
Right.
You know, old line from vaudeville was nice to see it back in men's clothes. You know, I didn't even know what that meant when I was a kid. But now it's like, no, there are people who are transgender.
Right.
So at some point, when you get past the wonderment of it and the joking of it, you either have to accept it or not. And if you're not accept it, it starts to look like it's your problem. You know?
Right. But it is interesting to learn that all these people have been, you know, the people's sex is not black and white, and we're learning so much so fast these days. You know,
yeah.
You know, I'm, you know, you don't know. It's not as easy, and I do understand people are like, give me a second to catch up with what's happening here.
I'm amazed at how fast it's gone, especially because I remember the Clinton years, and I was like so frustrated by Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And then all of a sudden, that's why Obama's kind of my hero, because I really think he kind of knew what to do, when to do it.
Right.
You know, like, I don't think he ever cared about gay marriage, but he knew that he couldn't take a strong position on that. So he was a politician in the true way of like you don't always tell the truth, but you don't. But you still. I felt he was honest.
Right.
You know, he was doing it for the right reasons.
Right. But he looks like the most amazing. Him and his family right now.
Oh yeah, when they show those pictures, like he looked like an Avenger or a
but
superhero.
Now compared to what we have at the White House, the wife won't even live with the president now.
You see that picture? There's a picture from my inauguration night where they're both sitting next to each other, and they couldn't look more depressed.
Yeah,
he hates this job. That's the thing that I'm amazed that he did finally run, because he hates it.
Well, he doesn't want to do it. He wouldn't mind being called president, but he doesn't want to do the work.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever. I mean, his regular job wasn't really work.
Right. Right. He wants other people to do it.
Well, you know, his father, when you find out that his father got all these tax deals and...
his father was mean to him. He should just say that.
Just say that and get over it.
Punishing us for it. Your father was an asshole. He hated you. He was shitty to you.
He's never going to love you. You're never going to get him to love you.
Fuck him.
Like the line from Postcards from the Edge.
Yeah.
Where Gene Hackman goes, your mother did it, and your mother did it, and her mother did it, and at some point you just have to say, fuck it.
Oh, that's a great line.
Yeah, I love that. I just saw that movie again recently after Carrie Fisher died.
Yes.
Such an amazing movie.
Yeah.
So many inside jokes. Her big hit that she was in was called Public Domain. So like in the 90s, I don't even think a lot of people would have gotten that joke.
Right.
You know, so she was hilarious.
She was hilarious.
And Meryl Streep was amazing.
Yeah, she was. My wife watched it again, too. We watched it after Carrie passed away. I had two podcasts in a row right before she passed away, where people happened to tell Ileana Douglas and somebody else, I can't remember, where they just happened to tell Carrie Fisher stories.
Oh, that's great.
And then, she, she and Penny Marshall used to have their birthday party together at their at her place, and it was literally the biggest party in Hollywood. And she was, she did a lot of things for people that were struggling and really helped out a lot of people.
Yeah.
And she had such a menagerie of friends and stories, and just, organically people just happened to have two amazing stories about her, and then that terrible thing happened.
There's nothing. She seemed like nobody was funnier than her. Like
Right.
in the moment, nobody.
Right.
She was just so funny, and I love that documentary. I love the relationship that she had with her mom.
Right.
It's amazing.
What an interesting. Yeah.
It's amazing that literally it does happen that some people can be so tied together that they can't live with it.
And so different.
Yeah, so different.
Yeah. That's what that made watching the movie again even
Right.
Yeah.
And also that movie, how often does a movie really capture the real thing?
I know.
I felt that like Shirley MacLaine as her mom
Oh, my
was
God.
so amazing.
Yes.
I'm Still Here, that song?
Yes.
I'm Still
Yes.
Here. Makes
Yeah.
me want to do musical theater.
Right.
Why didn't I ever get the shot?
Right. But you can get this.
Oh, I like this.
If you
I like
go-
this segue.
You
I like
can
this
go
segue.
to Apple Music or iTunes or Google Play or Spotify.
Yes.
And all digital audio retailers. What does that means everybody, right?
And that means that you're downloading it, I think.
Download it.
It's an audio thing.
Yes.
You can download. There's no reason to have the album.
And is it the whole 20 years of your?
No, it's the first year. It's like an hour speech.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so it's like I offer $1 million for footage of Whoopi Goldberg being funny. And,
Oh my gosh! And so Clinton was president.
Clinton was president, but it was like all the stuff about Friday Night Videos was on the air, and
Oh my gosh.
I made fun of Comic Relief because
that's great.
I'll never forget Robert Wall. This is a totally true story.
Yeah.
He's doing Comic Relief. He comes out there and he does a joke about like, you ever notice when you're flying first class? Right? At Comic Relief, he's like, and the shrimp comes and the lobster's under.
Yeah.
And then his last line was, "Watch Arliss. It's on after this." That's golden.
Yeah, that
it's
is golden.
golden.
That is golden.
And there's the whole idea that Zamuda would say that these guys, they're giving up. They could be at a comedy club tonight, and they're giving up that time.
Yeah.
Oh, in other words, instead of being a comedy club, they're in front of 80 million people.
HBO. Yeah.
So some of the stuff really holds up. But you know what I really liked about the speech was seeing the jealousies I had, the stuff. Remember what I was going through then,
Right.
And I just like I could tell. I like to see that it's like vulnerable,
Right. And did you read? Did you just have it in your head, or were you reading notes? Or
Oh no! So you mean we happen to have recorded every single one,
Right.
Well,
but I mean, when you're doing this,
when I do the speech, I write out. The way it works is all the jokes I say over the year that have to do with show business, I include those jokes.
Right.
And then I write other stuff. They could be rants, or they could just be whatever I'm upset about.
Right.
And then I put that together, and it's usually 50, 55 minutes, and it's all new material.
Right.
So it's really the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
So how do you practice that before you go? Do you go do it?
Except for the jokes, I don't practice it.
Right.
And that's why a lot of the stuff is hit or miss. It was even more hit or miss in the early years because I used to take the trades and I'd read about the deals in the trades,
Right.
and I thought it was so hilarious. And then one year I had like a mountain of – it's like nobody cares about this company. The executive over got ankled.
Yeah.
Over so I had to always keep changing. And now it's different too because back in the old days we knew every sitcom that was coming out. You know?
Right.
Everybody knew what to make fun of.
Right.
And now people watch – you don't know what everyone's watching different shows at different times. So
Right.
I've had to change it over the years, but it's the more I make it like a roast, it's the best.
Right.
Because I always love when Letterman would do a mean joke and he'd say, "I'm sorry, I thought this was a roast."
right. And do you like roasts, by the way?
I was cut out of the Chevy Chase roast.
How did what?
I had to go on. As I've said before, it was the only gig that was in danger of going into a second day. It was
Oh, my God.
It was the old Friars Club. It was the second time he was roasted. Geraldo was brilliant, and some people were brilliant on it. But I
Yeah,
went
he was
on
brilliant. He was
7
brilliant.
hours into the show
Is that true?
after Lisa Lampanelli
Oh, my God.
was doing Christopher Reeve jokes.
Oh, God.
And I died.
Was this after his accident or
Yeah,
before?
yeah,
Okay,
after his
okay,
accident. So
yeah.
those were the nature of the jokes.
Yeah, of course.
You can
I
imagine.
I guess that. But
Yeah, so I'm following that, and Chevy Chase was so angry by this point, he didn't even look up at me during the whole thing. And,
Oh, my God.
He went on a huge rant at the end of the night that they edited down.
Yeah.
Because he came, it was not a famous thing, but we heard him say to people, these people are nobodies. Why am I here? Like, that was his attitude going into the roast.
He didn't know that before when he saw the list.
Well, he knew Paul Schaefer was there, but it was like, I just think it's so weird that you would even have that attitude.
Yeah.
Oh, man, these people are nobodies.
Well, I mean, by the time you get there, when you know who's there, to have it on at the moment.
Yeah. He was you could tell he was just not, he was ready to blow.
Right. Oh, my God. What year was that?
That was 2000 or something like that.
Right.
It was a long time ago.
Were you sad you were cut out, or were you grateful?
I was more sad that I did poorly at the event.
Right.
Because it was one of those things where even during, like, Kevin Meaney bombed too.
Right.
But it was one of those things where, don't make me bring Kevin Meaney back. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things like I was doing so badly that, and it was also like every joke had been covered about him.
Yeah, of course.
By that point in the evening. And so, you know, I remember one joke I had was like, you know, you left Saturday Night Live after the first year, and if you'd seen Goat Boy, you would have left even earlier, or something like that.
Yeah.
So but it just couldn't. There was nothing. Nothing was. Everything was unearthed. And I remember McEnroe was there. I was like, oh, I want McEnroe to see me do comedy. He left before I went out.
Oh my God.
But Todd Barry was funny. Some people were really funny on that one. And I was like bitter when they put a Randy Quaid video piece in instead of me.
Oh my God. I bet they wouldn't do that now.
Right. No.
If it was today, they would use you.
Something happened
over
there.
Randy.
He had some issues.
Poor Randy.
I know.
Yeah. So mental. Yeah, people. You know.
Can he come back? I hope he comes back.
Well, I mean, his wife seems to have the same issue. So if you got a partner with whatever issue you got, it takes a little bit.
Well, then it's two people all day long going, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, there is somebody living in our phone.
Yeah. But, you know, hopefully he'll come out and we can help him.
It's a sad thing because
He's a good guy.
I love that guy.
Yeah, I do too.
When I saw the movie The Last Detail, I mean, some of the greatest movies. The guy's so talented.
Right.
So I do wish him the best.
And he's a nice guy, and hopefully we'll get it together.
Yeah.
How long have you been married, by the way?
15 years this May.
Yes. And may I ask, is your wife in the business?
No, she's a photographer.
Oh, wow.
She's
I like
great
that.
photographer, yeah.
I like that. That's my kid. My 3-year-old is fascinated with photography.
Yeah, and my wife did photography when you had to know what you were doing, film.
Yeah, shit.
Like I always said, I could never do a job because I don't want to wait 24 hours to see if I bombed.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait for it to come back from the lab.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of the downside of photography these days. A lot of people don't even know what they're looking at. They're just taking a million shots.
Well, I let my kid take my phone and then go take pictures so I can see what his world's like for an hour. And he comes back, I look at the pictures. It's a lot like a prison. If you're 3 years old, there's a lot of gates and fences and legs, just people's legs like guards.
I remember
doors
that
are
too.
locked. There's door locks in front of you. That's all you see. You don't see a sky. It's a sad little place he lives in.
I remember this when I was 3 years old, being fascinated by the dust in the room being lit up by light.
Right.
And
he does do a lot of that too with the lights and the angles and the tile of the floor. You and my 3-year-old could get along very well. Andy Kindler, I have to thank you so much for coming down here.
This was so much fun.
You're wonderful. And please, anything you could check out that Andy's done or see him live, he is one of the absolute funniest people I've ever met and unpredictable. So I could tell you what you're going to see him do, but he'll do something different. And I love him and I appreciate him. Thank you, Andy.
I love you too, Tom. Every time I see you, we have so much fun.
We do.
And, whether it's a festival or wherever it is.
Well, that's it.
You make me laugh.
I feel the same about you, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Tom Arnold, 100% honest. Pretty much. Download new episodes every Wednesday on iTunes and at podcastone.com.
Hey guys, David Smalley here, reminding you to check out Dogma Debate on the Podcast One app, iTunes, and basically everywhere else you could possibly hear a podcast. Dogma Debate is basically a way for you to peek in on conversations you've always wondered about. Say a hardcore anti-gay preacher meets an atheist who knows the Bible like the back of his hand, or a far-left social justice warrior meets a different kind of liberal who doesn't want to join in on the riots. On Dogma Debate, I talk to people who completely disagree with me, and I let them tell me why they think I'm wrong, why I should be on their team.